Hello everyone. Welcome to our video, and I hope you guys doing fine. And so today, we would like to present our first assignment, assignment one, group from group three. So let me introduce myself. My name is Denizini Benzaidi. My matrix number is 200532. And how about the others?
Assalamualaikum everyone. My name is Muhammad Syamil Sadiq bin Muhammad Isham and my matric number is 200746.
Assalamualaikum and good evening everyone. My name is Muhammad Syamil bin Azmi and my metric number is 200247.
So before we start, in this assignment there are three questions. So each of us will explain to you guys each of the questions. So we will start with the Shamil Sadiq.
Okay, let's move to question one. It is about question is explain about the rules of government and institutional bodies such as Department of Environment DOE and Drainage and Irrigation Department DID for water quality protection in Malaysia. Discuss about the enforcement rules, regulations or act related to the agricultural waste disposal such as palm oil milk effluent. Okay. So Department of Environment, which is DOE, the mission of this department is to ensure sustainable development in the process of nations. So from the question, it is asked about palm oil milk effluent. So palm oil milk effluent is a high strength wastewater derived from processing of palm fruit, and it is generated in a large quantities in all palm oil producing, where it is a strong pollutant to microbial degradation, and it is rich in organic carbon, nitrogen, and also minerals. So this Department of Environment is used to control this disposal of from the palm oil milk effluents. Next. So this is the regulatory compliance. It is a parameter limitations. So the wastewater disposal from a factory or company, it needs limitations before it disposed to the area, which is the first one is inland waters or territorial waters. Inland waters is aquatic influent environment located within land boundaries. This includes those located in coastal areas. The second one is land or land applications. And the last one is land irrigation. Land irrigation is an agricultural areas purposely provided with water. So in this slide, it is a few example of parameters and also the index. So the first one is temperature, pH, biochemical oxygen demand or BOD, chemical oxygen demand, COD, suspended solids, oil and grease, and also nitrogen ammonia. So we use this parameter as an indicator to the wastewater before it disposed to the disposed outside from the factory, for example. Next. So this is the strategies planned by DOE in increasing enforcement. So the first one is 100% enforcement inspection for licensed facilities, manufacturing industries, and sewage facilities. The second one is environmental compliance. It can be increased through field inspection and engagement with the industrial sectors. So field inspection uh, is to verify the factors which can cause irreversible damage. For example, to the genetic purity or seed health. Okay. The third one is the environmental mainstreaming tools, EMT, to be implemented in the organizations and industrial premises. So this EMT includes environmental policy, environmental budgeting, environmental monitoring committee, facility, and also competency. Next. So this is an act for environmental quality, which is Environmental Quality Act 1974. So it is an act relating to the prevention, abatement, control of pollution, and enhancement of the environment and for purposes connected therewith. So in order to control the environment quality, we need to a few things, which is uh, you know, which is to control of pollution, we need licensing, acceptable conditions, prohibition, and environmental audits. So, for example, environmental audit is a type of evaluation intended to identify environmental compliance and management systems that implementation gaps along with related corrective actions. So, the last part is some example of abatements of pollutions. The first one is Section 30A. It is a power to control use of substance and product and to state environmental labeling, which is it controls substance that used by a factory so that the wastewater that disposed uh, from the factory is not very harmful to the environment. Second one is Section 30B, power to specify rules on deposits and rebate schemes. And the last one is Section 47, power of recovery of costs and expenses. So actually it has uh, a few of section that's not included in this slide. This is only a few example. Okay, I think that's all for question 1. Thank you.
So now let's move on to the next question. I have to share with you guys about the news regarding of the waste disposal into the river or the water surfaces in Malaysia, specifically in Malaysia, and to describe the human health and impacts on surface, the groundwater quality, and the waste to minimize the pollutants. So next. So there are several events or some accidents regarding to the pollution of disposal waste into the river or the water surfaces in Malaysia. So such as the pollution of chemical waste in the Klang River on May 14, 2019. The garbage thrown Sungai Nipah in Batu Maung November 5, 2020. And this one is probably the most famous one, the 2019 Kim River toxic pollution that occurred on 7 March 2019 in Pasir Gudang, Johor, Malaysia. So next one is, so this one is the picture as you guys can see. Klang River, Sungai Kim over there, and then the Batu Maung. So I give you 5 seconds to watch how bad it is. Okay, next slide. So the first component is the impact on surface. So usually when the river was contaminated with the rubbish or the chemical waste, is often that leading to the fill of the plastic bottles and all the type of rubbish. And somehow some rivers in Malaysia often used to dumping ground, and this is very not suitable for environment. Also, they have some leftover chemical waste such as at the Kim River, And obviously when the river contaminated, so the very less clear water, and plus they are smelly and or very stink smell. So next one, for the groundwater quality, when the groundwater near the waste dumps, it is contaminated with iron, some of the dangerous chemical components such as iron, lead, manganese, phenol, and factor bacteria that can cause the death of the aquatic animals and also the environment as well. So when the groundwater was located nearby with the radioactive waste landfill or solid waste landfill or some of the agricultural areas, so the arsenic levels were high also. So next one. And this is the important part is the human health, which is us. So this is some of the events, some of the effect from the Kim Kim River. So some of the most of the victims are students. So students somehow fall ill and complaining of breathing difficulties. This one is very common. And then the student brought to the hospital were already fainted and with the symptoms such as vomiting. So vomiting and some breathing difficulties is one of the very common symptoms when the air or some water polluted. So next one is schools were ordered to shut down, obviously for about 2 weeks, I guess, during that time. And plus chemical waste that released into the river may lead to formation of various types of cancer, so such as skin cancer, liver cancer, vascular cancer, and etc. So next one, the very last one is to how can we minimize the pollutants. So the first role is from the government. So a government to urge the government to introduce the new policies and regulation or law to ban certain pollutants. Also establish the pollution permits to be issued as control measure. So next one is from industry itself. Industries should install the pre-treatment system to separate the dangerous waste. The partially treated wastewater can be sent to the public sewerage system for further purification. So that's all from me about the second question. So let's move on to Shamel. We will explain to you guys about the question 3.
So for the question 3, I would like to describe the waste characteristic which generated from the cow, and also I will explain the method that can be used to treat the waste produced. As we can see for the waste characteristics for cow are divided into 2 parts, which are dairy and beef. So for the first one is dairy. So quantities of dairy manure vary widely from small cows to large cows and between cows at low production and high production levels. So dairy feeding systems and equipment often waste feed, which is most cases is added to the manure. And dairy cow stalls are often covered with bedding materials that improve animal comfort and cleanliness. As we can see in the picture, those are the bedding materials that have been used for the dairy cows, which are, for example, sawdust and wood shavings. All the organic and inorganic bedding materials used for this purpose will eventually be pushed, kicked, and carried from the stalls and added to the manure. The characteristic of these bedding materials will blend with those of the manure. And for the last one is higher producing herds will have higher feed intake and greater total manure and manure nutrient excretion. So the second one is beef. Feedlot manure varies widely because of climate, type of feedlot surface, and management. Nutrient loss from feedlot manure is highly influenced by management factors such as moisture control, animal density, and cleaning frequency. The soil in unsurfaced beef feedlots is really incorporated with the manure due the animal movement and cleaning operations. If the feedlot surface is too dry, dust will become a problem, and if it remains too wet, odor may become a concern. So nitrogen loss from feedlots can be by runoff, leaching, and ammonia volatilization. So the volatilization of nitrogen as ammonia depends on temperature, moisture content, pH, air movement, and other factors. So the last one is ammonia is soluble in water, which could be a potential threat if feedlot runoff comes in contact with surface or groundwater. So now we will move on to the next part, which is the treatment methods that have been used to overcome the waste of the cow. So here are three methods, which are composting, stock peeling, and also on pasture. So the first method is composting. So this method, which is composting, speeds the breakdown of organic matter. So the basic or the purpose of composting is to achieve a balance of carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and moisture. So through adding the right mix of ingredients with regular aeration. So this equation also creates heat and speeds the breakdown process. So there are several means of managing compost, such as hot, warm, and cool, and several systems to contain the compost, which are static piles, windrows, and tree bin units, which are optional for the small farm. And for this composting method, a small tractor or skid steer with a bucket loader is ideal for turning and moving compost. So farmers without access to this machinery can still set up a small-scale composting system that can be managed by manpower. So now we move on to the second method, which is stock peeling. So unlike composting, stock peeling is simply a means of storing the waste until you are ready to use it. So a simple pine behind the barn isn't environmentally acceptable, as rainwater will carry away the nutrients, potentially polluting groundwater and drinking water. So peeling the solid manure and soil livestock or cattle manure in a convenient location. And we can also use plastic tub to cover the stockpile, and which will help to reduce odor and flies. So as you can see in the picture, we use the plastic tub to cover the stockpile. So the last method is on pasture manure management. So the most low maintenance manure management system is keeping animals on well-maintained pasture, which also benefits animal and soil health. Manage intensive grazing requires constructing temporary fencing and moving animals to new grazing areas, but the effort results in better use of manure nutrients than allowing uncontrolled grazing. And intensive grazing or managed pastures also will generally have healthier, dense plant growth and better utilize the plant nutrients contained in the manure. So that's all from me for the third question. So that's all from us.
Hope you guys enjoy our presentation. So that's all. Have a nice day and thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.